Okay, hi, this is me from the future, saying that you're about to get like a review of the book that I'm just finished, and I don't know, I feel like I did a really weird job, or just I'm really out of practice. So, whatever. This is my attempt at a vlog, and an attempt more at like reviewing a book. I don't know. Here we go. Hi, I'm starting a vlog. How are you guys doing? It is Saturday. It is very sunny here in New York. I wanted to start this vlog to be my reading of my current book, but I was so sucked into it in the past like 45 minutes that I finished it. So I guess I can just do a little wrap-up thoughts on it and then continue on to whatever the next thing is. I'm wearing mascara for the first time in like half a year. So the book that I'm talking about is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jaqueline Harman. This edition is with an afterword by Sophie McIntosh and translated by Ross Schwartz. Harman was born in Belgium, so this is translated from the French. My dog has lost something under the bed, so just give me one moment. It's a major striped theme here. So this book, I'm fresh from my last little reading stint. I read like the last 30 pages now. Hi. 30 pages now. And earlier I sat by myself in the West Village in a really cute little... Are you gonna throw up? Please don't do that. I was sat having a little midday fizzy glass of wine. It was like a nice natural wine bar in the West Village. So I was there reading a big chunk of the book, and then I realized like I wouldn't be able to finish it, or I was like, oh no, I feel like I need to be at home to finish this book. Like I feel it really burrowing itself in me and I don't want to be in public. Our main character is an unnamed character, and she is the youngest of 40 women who have found themselves locked inside a cage deep underneath the ground. And they're surveilled by like 3 men at a time. And they don't know how they got there. They don't have really recollections of how they ended up there, or really very much about their lives before, and especially not her, our main character, because she's probably, yeah, in her teens at the beginning of the book. And she doesn't, like, she's just grown up already at that point, years inside the cage. And the other women who are older have kind of a reference of what like normal life looked like or looks like, but like it's fading over time, and they also think that they're being drugged, and that's affecting their memories. And so oh, I wanted to say that this book was written in 1995, I think, and 1997 was the first English translation, and this particular edition by Transit Books was published in 2022. Maybe I heard this from someone else, that it's really great to not know that much about this book when you go into reading this book. But it does say on the back, and so it's not a spoiler, that some alarm goes off in the middle of their days in this cage where, you know, they're just being watched. They have no sense of time. Like there's just an electrical light that's kind of like giving some sense of like day and night, but they have no idea if that notion of time is is really accurate. And our young main character is just unlike them because she has no prior life to this place, and she feels that it separates her like fundamentally from the other women. And at first they're quite weary of her, and she is a thinky girl. She's a thinky young woman, and she wants to know things, and this is a source of kind of friction between her and the other older women, except for one particular woman who kind of becomes like her rock, and also does feed her with information, you know, about what things are, what things in life are. An alarm goes off, and it just happens to go off at the exact second that like one of the men is putting the keys inside of the cage to let them out, and then they disappear completely. And our main gal is like, oh my god, this is our chance to get out of here. I'm gonna unlock the thing and open the cage door. So they're all kind of like shocked and confused, and then she opens the door and the guards are nowhere to be found, and they make their way out of this cage underground into the world up above outside, which is sort of a very, very vast plane. And from there, I don't really want to tell you what happens because I think it's best that you know the least about it. I'll just talk less about the plot now and more just about, my feelings about the book. I thought this was amazing. Like, this is one of the more deeply affecting novels that I've read recently, or like in a long time. This really, like, it's very bleak. It's deeply bleak, but it does, you know, ask the question about what it means to be human, and is humanity, what does it mean, especially for our main character, who's like basically a test tube experiment of a human, like someone that grew up without culture and grew up without being inside the real world, and like, you know, what is a person when they have nothing or when they know nothing but are so curious? It's a lot about curiosity. Can time be created? Like there's like a theme throughout the book of our main character like using her own heartbeat to keep time and also to keep distance, like how many heartbeats in this many steps, so she must have gone this far. Some way to sort of organize time. And I want to read you a quote about that is really... The alternation of day and night is merely a physical phenomenon. Time is a question of being human, and frankly, how could I consider myself a human being? I, who have only known 39 people, and all of them women. I think that time must have something to do with the duration of pregnancies, the growth of children, all those things that I haven't experienced. If someone spoke to me, there would be time, the beginning and end of what they said to me, the moment when I answered their response. The briefest conversation creates time. Perhaps I have tried to create time through writing these pages. Oh my god, I have like goosebumps all over my body. Really so touching, so moving. Like, also the question about love. What does it mean to love? You know, these 40 women get out of this place, and the way that they sort of hold compassion for each other and keep each other going is really love. And our main character, the one who has never known men, is kind of discovering, you know, what is love, and if it isn't just between a man and a woman, because she's never met a man in her whole life. You know, she's seen them, but she's never met one. So you know, she realizes retrospectively that that maybe her relationship with these women was love. Definitely like a resilience story. And from the beginning, you know that our character is writing this book, like is recounting her life. So she has made it much, much later in her life. And she's decided to write down her story. And kind of by writing one story, you hold space for the importance of a life, you know. Like there's a quote in the beginning that she's like, if Shakespeare's life or Hamlet's life or some cultural or historical figure's life mattered, then mine should as well. And maybe it will matter maybe I can make it matter by writing it down. There's also like a love for books in this book, and reading and learning to read and learning to, yeah, books as a source of information. Like we have a character who's so curious and wants so much to know, and she wants to think, and she feels like thinking is the only thing that she can do. Like when there is nothing, there is walking, there is asking, there is thinking. These are the things that she can do. Last night when I was reading this book, and I'm sorry that my review is just like all over the damn place. Like, first of all, I don't know how to talk about books. I got to like halfway through the book, and it does get quite dark and bleak, like I said, and like I had to just close the book, and I had to really, really like hug my partner. Like I immediately felt like I needed to hold on to someone close to me. And this book like kind of makes me fear death more than I did before, which I've always struggled with, thinking about dying. Like, of course I know that it's part of life, but it's something very, very hard for me to come to terms with, like that it will happen to me. And this book does deal a lot with death. So, but also kind of thinking about death as something sort of heroic in the way, maybe the way that you face it when it comes. And that's another thing that like is, you know, explored in this book. A lot about solitude and one, like being with oneself. And I wanted to vlog right as I was finishing it or as I was reading it, but I also felt like, especially towards the end, I felt like the theme or the book is asking me to like read this alone and be alone with the character in her aloneness, and like not speak about it with anyone. So now I think maybe that's why it's difficult for me to try to verbalize it. Sophie Mackintosh's afterword is also quite lovely in the end, and like speaks about how this you know, speculative feminist book is asking about human nature, is asking about like what kind of atrocities and like damage we can inflict on other human beings. Sophie Mackintosh does talk about that it's hard not to, and I was also thinking about it, like it's hard not to read this book as well and think about Harman being born in Belgium in 1929 and fleeing to Casablanca with her family when the Nazis invaded in World War II in Belgium. So she was Jewish, so I also was a bit thinking about that element of her own life in this telling this kind of story. From my experience, like reading it from the beginning, I was quite hooked. And then I felt like it was a little bit slow, but like if you follow it and if you keep going, like it's really just gonna rush at you. So it's crazy. This book is fucking crazy. I think it's a kind of a masterpiece, a book I should read definitely more than once, and maybe every few years or something. So if you like speculative fiction, kind of post-apocalyptic books, I feel like this is a really, really, really beautiful, refined one. I was gonna say like delicate, but it is also quite like harsh at some points. So yeah, I think Jaqueline Harman is amazing. Oh yeah, that was really, really, really amazing. I've talked for 20 minutes now. Let's see what I can edit from that, but okay, it's really hot sitting in the sun. Um, so yeah, but I'll just grab quickly the book that I think I'm gonna read next. I'm not sure if I'm gonna, yeah, let's include that in this video, even if the video is long. That's what vlogs are for, right? People like the long form. Switch to the laptop because I'm running out of storage on my iPhone. See, just when I want to like, no, go back to filming in your iPhone, I get pulled back to photo booth. Also takes a lot less storage, just obviously because the quality is like a lot less good. I wanted to share the book that I think that I'm gonna read next, which is The Anthropologists by Ayşegül Savaş. Yeah, this has been making the rounds. Gorgeous cover, in my opinion. Not always are like photographic covers successful, but I do think like there's something very intriguing about this one. And it's about a couple just looking at apartments all day long, and that feels really very, very real because in my last video I said that my partner Ohad and I have looked at, I think like at this point like 27 apartments here in New York, and one of them we thought we were like awaiting, or we still are like awaiting a final answer if we're gonna get it, and suddenly I feel like we're being scammed, which is like, I just don't even have any energy for that. I would either like, I should laugh. I should actually start laughing about it because if not, I'll start crying. Anyways, this is about, yeah, a couple envisioning their future in a foreign city. What did their life look like? What rituals will structure their days? Whom can they consider family? Wow, that is, maybe this will be too triggering. Examination of home building and modern love. Yeah, I don't know, it's small. Hi, Jacob. And it's kind of broken up into these like little headings, like in the park, the drinking spirit, outer and inner orbits, the living and the dead, in the park. Hi. Look at this cinematic. Oh, we don't need to film that. I've talked to Sophie before about how many times I like stop mid filming being like, what are you doing? What are you saying? So that's happening to me now. So I'm gonna take the dog out. I'm gonna make pasta aglio olio and some fennel in the oven with some burrata for dinner tonight, and then maybe I'll either start this or we'll end up watching Fleabag because we never watched all of Fleabag back when everyone else did. We've seen the first episode like 3 times and just like never continued it, and last night we made it to episode 2, so I want to continue. So probably tonight will be like a mix of Fleabag and starting this. But I'll keep you updated on the reading. Just bought this lip tint. What's it called? I'll go get it. I'll just give you my Sephora haul. It's called Culty. Is it called Culty? Yeah, Lassie Lips Staining Lip Oil in Caramel. I saw this shit on Instagram. I rarely do that, see something on Instagram and then like go and buy it. But yeah, it looked like a fun, like lip tint. It's a lip oil, and you can either like leave it like oily, glossy looking, or you can just leave it on for a little bit and then wipe it off, which is what I did. And then, yeah, it doesn't come off. So, and like cute color. And then I got sunscreen, Dr. Jart. I've not used this one, but like I was just they didn't have the sunscreen that I normally use. And this was SPF 50 and like didn't seem to leave a white cast on the back of my hand. So pretty like fluidy, liquidy, which I like in a sunscreen. And then I just ran out of my deodorant, so I picked this up. Salt and Stone natural aluminum free. Well, I don't know if it's fully natural, but aluminum free deodorant in the scent Santal and Vetiver. It smells exactly like my Santal perfume from Le Labo, which I just ran out of and really don't have the money to repurchase right now. So at least from my armpits, I will vaguely smell like it. High performance deodorant formulated for 24-hour protection. Sometimes, like with natural deodorants, they either don't work on me or they really irritate my underarms. So let's hope that this wasn't like a fucking $20 deodorant for nothing. That's all for now. Catch you in the next clip.
Hi.
Continue.
Hello. Yeah, you really do, like, you are using photo booth.
Yeah, we're doing the clean out. Well, actually, we're not doing the clean out. We're drinking.
Well, you might be.
We're drinking, and you're cleaning out.
This was a fun book that I'm never going to read again. It's a Pulitzer Prize winner. Come on. These are good. I don't know if I'm ever going to read that, but it's nice. Coming Bad Days. Do you want to borrow it?
I have it.
Oh, you have it?
On my Kindle.
That's probably the only thing in this that I'm not going to keep.
So do I put it there?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Europa editions?
Covers?
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
Just doing an octopus dance. What does your octopus dance look like?
Octopus dance?
Yeah. Hi, it's Monday. I'm all glammed up because it was the premiere of a film that I shot last year and I couldn't be there, so I was there via video chat. So I woke up this morning and really was like, I have to get glam for Zoom. I want to come and give some updates. So one is that we just got sent a lease for an apartment. So seems like everything's good and we will finally have an apartment in Brooklyn. Second of all, I started a new book. I'm rushing because my mother is here in New York and I'm gonna meet her downstairs. And she was like, oh, I'm downstairs. I was like, okay, I'm coming. Then turns on the camera and films. So I told her, give me 5 minutes. I started The Anthropologists by Ayşegül Savaş. And I'm about 23 pages in. I made the mistake of starting this the other night before bed, which just never works for me because then I wake up the next morning and like I feel like the beginning of a book is so crucial for me, and if I'm foggy on those details or like the introduction to the voice or the people, like I'm just like, no, I missed something. So I had to start over this morning and I got a little bit further. I'm on page 22. I've been also taking some reading notes. Yeah, we're following a couple whose name is Asya and Manu, and they're both from different countries that are also not the country in which they're living together in. So they're immigrants, but we don't know from where, and we don't know what the city is that they're living in. But they're like scholarship students at a university in a foreign city. And they've graduated and they've kind of found themselves still living in this city, and you meet them at the beginning of the book like apartment searching, and they're sort of like, it's time to look for something more stable, like I guess we're in that time in our life where we should sort of think about stability. Manu works for a nonprofit, and Asya works as a documentary maker. And she's just recently received a grant to make a documentary, and so she's kind of searching for her next subject, like what she wants to make the film about. And it's like a little bit of money, so they're able to kind of pay their rent for the next year, but they're apartment searching. So in 22 pages, I don't really have much to say other than it's really exactly what my partner and I were going through. Like when you go to see an apartment, and there's a quote, the priorities of strangers that were so different from our own. It's like when you go to see an apartment and you see that the tenant that's living there, it's like you really see their priorities. Like, oh yes, they would put this in the kitchen because that's a priority. Or like, this apartment doesn't have a window, so that must not be a priority for them. Or like, and like these things that you feel when you go to see apartments, and the like judgments you make about people, and like sitting in cafes and being like, okay, if we lived here, this would be our cafe. Do we like it? Do we like this restaurant? Like, would we become regulars here? We would start to learn the names of the bartenders, and like just exactly conversations that have been having in the past like 2.5 weeks here in New York. So it's all very relatable. There's a lot about being foreign. Asya really wants to make friends, and she really wants to integrate. And Manu is more like satisfied with their unit. Like, the two of them, there's another little quote that I wrote down. Our small world that was also a universe. So he kind of like feels safe in like the universe that is their relationship, and like doesn't really feel the need to like actively make friends, and she feels otherwise. And I don't know if that's gonna continue to become like a source of tension in their relationship. She's kind of just befriended at this point like the only native person to that city that she knows, because all of their other friends are other foreigners from other places, and she's kind of like drawn to this woman because she's a local and she's a native to that city. Reflections on like people out of college, and like in our I'm lumping myself like into that, you know, category of people like in late 20s, early 30s, that like busy with like finding our passion, and then like how does our passion intersect with work. Like if you can't make something that makes money from what you love doing, then maybe it's like not relevant, and that feels like the kind of world that we live in. And so yeah, that's all I have to say so far. I think that it will actually be like a really fast read. Like actually even the text is quite large. Whoa, random cramp. The text is even quite like large on the page, with a lot of kind of like space. So I think it's a quick read. I'm gonna finish it soon, I think, and then give it to Sophie, because when we were at her place last night, which you would have seen some clips of, she was like, I really want to borrow that from you. So I'm gonna go meet my mom. It's been longer than 5 minutes, and then I'll catch you later. Hi, I'm just slathering my face with moisturizer. It is Sunday, and I've come to finish the vlog because I did finish the book. So I am, wow, it's hot in here. I'm gonna sit down and tell you my final thoughts about The Anthropologists. So let me just get situated. Using like a sample of a face cream, and it really burns where I shave, so I don't think that's a good sign. Probably won't be buying that one. I'm having a bad hair day, so the scarf. This is what I thought about this book. Similar to her first book, White on White, I really like the idea of the book. Same with White on White as well. I really, really enjoyed like I'm really into the ideas inside the book, but somehow it just doesn't like, yeah, it doesn't go all the way for me. Or like, even if it's more subtle and quiet, like I like those kinds of books as well. Like, so it doesn't have to like scream something in my face for me to like it, definitely not. But it just like, I like the ideas of her books, but they don't like really do it for me by the end. I had a similar, yeah, experience with this one. I'm gonna just look back at my notes and see if I wrote anything else down. I think I mentioned in the last clip about this that like there is sort of the hovering question over our main couple about like having a baby and becoming parents, and it is sort of like something that keeps going throughout the book. Like when they go to look at apartments, that like real estate agents kind of like immediately say things to them like, yeah, this room would be great for like, you could put a pram in here, or like this would be a great place for a child. And like they never talk about like having children with anyone. It's just like, that's the assumption, is that like this heterosexual couple of their age like probably should be thinking about kids soon, and so it kind of like hovers over them, but it doesn't really go anywhere necessarily in the book. I wrote that it really reminds me of How Should a Person Be by Sheila Heti. The book asks like really very similar questions. How were we meant to live? And Asya, who we're like really with throughout the book, she's our protagonist, she's our voice, is really like looking at other people's lives to understand how is she supposed to live and how are they supposed to live. And that's through other people's homes, that's through other people's relationships, that's through other people's relationship to the foreign city that they're in, and also through her documentary work. Like she decides to make the park her subject, so she interviews people at the park, and you'll get little passages in the book that are titled "In the Park," and these are like little bits from other people's perspective, little stories, little like interviews, and she's also like interviewing them like to understand how she should be living, you know? So how should a person be? How should we live? How should we take our next steps in life at that point in their relationship and in their age group? And all of that question is like, I mean, How Should a Person Be is like one of my favorite books. So I'm all about it. How does our home reflect how we want to be seen? How does our work reflect how we want to be seen? How does our friend group reflect things about us? How does our partner? There's a little passage about them going to a gallery and seeing like some artifacts and like these objects that were buried underground, that in a certain culture, I don't remember which one, let me see, I have the page number. So they go to an anthropology museum, some kind of like ritual of shamans, it doesn't like say specifically which culture, that has like, that buries really beautiful objects because their like invisible value is higher than their beauty. And so I was just thinking about like invisible value and like what is underneath, and like are things more valuable under the ground or inside or not shown. And I think that the book is also questioning that, like what is our environment and what is our like invisible value as a person and as an individual person and as a partnership. Kind of like a half-baked thought, but one little detail that like they love to pick up things in flea markets, and then like they end up realizing that they have no use for these objects, so they have like a little cabinet in their home that's just like full of these like objects that at once offered like, you know, the potential for an idea of something new in their life, and then actually they don't really do anything. Like things that were bought without dedication. Her being a documentary maker and making the park her subject, that the park is just, you know, a microcosm of life, like the park as life. So there's so many options of the ways of inhabiting the park, and that's what she's asking people when she's interviewing them. And so there are many ways of inhabiting the world, but also maybe the book is offering that that maybe actually there's only one way of inhabiting the park or life, and that is to just mostly not know, like mostly go through life with many, many unanswered questions. That the unknown is like the only common thread between all people. I was saying to my partner as we were walking home, or we were actually like walking through a flea market today, and I said like I was a little bit disappointed by this book because I love the idea of it so much, but I think there's something about this book specifically as well that like the couple really reminds me of our relationship sometimes. The way that we build kind of like our own language together, that we're from different places, that sometimes one of us, we oscillate between like really craving to like build a bigger community of friends, and then another person in the partnership can be less ambitious about that and more satisfied just with the small unit of two people that can feel like a universe, and how that shifts. And like, yeah, looking at apartments, and there was something just like very relatable to me about that, about the book, but I feel like I live that already. So I sort of felt like, and what? Like, and what are we doing with it? Or, yeah, so like still like good passages and like fascinating reflections, but nothing too, yeah, I don't know. I guess I would just wanted more from it a little bit. That's it. I really wanted to get this video up because it's been over a week since I've uploaded something, and that like I want to put up content more. It's just vlogs take a long time because they're like obviously over multiple days or a week or weeks. Don't know what I'm gonna read next. I have the play version, the one-woman play version of The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion, but I'm not sure actually that that's so much what I want to read right now. So I'll take another look at like my stack of books that I've bought, books that I'm borrowing from Sophie, or that she gave us. Yeah, I'll have a look around and see what I'm craving. Thanks for watching. If you have any ideas about things you want to see or things that are interesting for you, then let me know. I'm happy to be writing a little bit about my reading though, again. Sometimes it all comes down to like the right notebook and the right pen, you know what I mean? If you're someone like me, like the tactile things have to be very, very satisfying to use, and if they are, then like I'm writing my morning pages with more ease, I'm writing about the books that I'm reading, so sometimes it's just all about like the literal material. Okay, bye, have a great day, weekend, night, whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.